Joined now by NBC's Vaughn Hilliard, who's been covering this campaign so closely every minute of every day. Happy primary day. We're finally here, Vaughn. You've been out talking to voters. You've seen all the candidates at the rallies. What are you picking up on this primary day?
I was hearing you guys talking about going to the Nikki Haley event last night, and it struck me it was a similar measure and tenor to coming out of an event that I went of hers the other morning over the weekend. The first woman who attempted to talk to upon leaving that event, in which Nikki Haley only spoke for about 20 minutes, this woman comes out and she goes, "Well, that was disappointing," she says out into the air. And I tried to attempt to ask her what was disappointing, and she goes, "I'm not talking to you," but I think that those two words were all that I needed to hear. And the part is last night, well, you were at the Nikki Haley event. I was with Donald Trump at his closing rally, in which Doug Burgum, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tim Scott were all with him. And I was talking to some folks waiting in line in the frigid cold about their support of Donald Trump, and particularly whether somebody like Ron DeSantis should be allowed back into the fold. I want to let you listen to one gentleman's response.
I think DeSantis kissed the ring, so he's all set.
So as long as you kiss the ring.
He bent the knee.
So as long as you kiss the ring or bend the knee.
Then you're back in. That's right. It's like the medieval times.
Not only that gentleman, but several others that I talked to, the word that I kept hearing from them when asking about why Donald Trump, despite these trials that await him, was the word strength. Strength. And it touched me because listening to the rally last night, Donald Trump is temperamental. Donald Trump recoils at tough, direct questions. Donald Trump does not like dissent, even internally among his own campaign. Donald Trump is willing to throw anybody off of the cliff. But I think in a way that we understand those attributes to be somebody who is temperamental, a great many of his supporters believe that that is exuding strength. And it is tough for these other candidates throughout this last year to push back on that strength. And one other soundbite I wanted to let you hear, I had the chance to talk with Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman from Georgia, in which I asked her about the future of Nikki Haley and the Republican Party. Take a listen.
This is a referendum on the Republican Party, and that's something I'll be saying in my speech tonight. This is a true change for the Republican Party. It says that not only do we support President Trump, we support his policies. And any Republican that isn't willing to adapt these policies, we are completely eradicating from the party. So it's up to Nikki Haley what she does.
We are eradicating them from the party. And she said that she didn't believe that Nikki Haley had a future in the Republican Party or in a future Trump administration.
Yeah, no ambiguity there from Marjorie Taylor Greene. It does feel like this is a last stand, that this is a moment. If you look at it from the other side, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene's view. If you listen to Nikki Haley, and particularly, frankly, from Governor Sununu, who is a loud and strong advocate for her, this is a moment of choosing for the Republican Party. If Nikki Haley loses, this is the argument tonight, there's no going back. It's Donald Trump's nomination. It's Donald Trump's party and perhaps Donald Trump's country again if he is elected president. Those are the stakes, maybe too little, too late. She doesn't particularly distinguish herself from Donald Trump. She talks about her record and what she'd like to do, soft pedals her criticism as she has of him in the state when you listen to her at that event last night anyway. Do you sense among the independents that are the biggest voting group in this state that they are willing at this moment to make that kind of statement, that they want to say, we're not going back to Donald Trump? Or does it feel like the polling that has Donald Trump up in double digits, does that feel right?
There is no obvious underground movement of independent resistance. There's not some anti-Trump resistance. We saw this in Iowa. We're seeing this here in New Hampshire that are coming out and inspired by Nikki Haley. One voter I talked to telling me that, she watches the campaign ads. Nikki Haley is running as Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, right? She's running essentially as a Coke Zero to Donald Trump's Coke. And for folks that are very much opposed to the former president, you got to be inspired. There was one woman coming out of a Nikki Haley event over the weekend that told me, I guess I'll go vote for her because at this point it's a two-person race. But the I guess is not some moving feeling that is going to draw the folks who are perhaps disenchanted with the state of politics, largely because of Donald Trump, to actually turn out. And frankly, what she's going to need from the data is an overwhelming surge of support, maybe more than 50% of independents to make up this GOP electorate. And frankly, Nikki Haley, we have not seen from her draw that sort of inspiration out of voters.
Yeah, and we'll see if she loses here. We're going to leave it to the voters. We don't know what's going to happen tonight if she continues on to South Carolina. Will be the next question if she does, in fact, lose tonight. But good news. We can stop talking now. The voters are out there as we speak at the polls. Vaughn Hilliard, great to see you. Thanks so much. Nika?